ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपादं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमतस्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमतस्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोडकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वसिष्ठान्ते वसदृषिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राग्निर्विकल्पं पुनः माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये Verse number 3. यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमविदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाचित्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुपादि एतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये द्रेहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि जलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्तजडोपमास्तहमिति भ्रान्ता भृशंवादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहाव्योमोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Bauddhaha, those people who are believers in the philosophy of Buddhism, come to say that Shunyam Jagat Atava Kshanikam Eva Sarvam Iti. Null and void is everything, or they are all temporary appearances. Taking that particular argument which had ruled the minds of the people for many, many centuries, Bhagavan Shankaracharya wants to prove that the entire standpoint was wrong. When the concept of moksha, if we understand only as mere freedom from suffering, one can easily do by denying everything as null and void. Let us take, for example, a person who is depressed, dejected, and does not have any solution for his problems. In today's world, such a person can take some kind of drug. And what does that lead that person to? To a state of denial of everything. Nothing seems to be real. Nothing is real. His mind will get into a situation, temporarily though, where one is akin to sleep or unconscious existence, or an existence where the things and objects and everything is seem to be of no importance. And that is the reason we call it as addiction, because it definitely a freedom. There's no doubt about it. Otherwise, people will not get addicted to it if it is a pain. So release from the pain, just like a painkiller you take, the pain is actually not gone, but you are not going to experience the pain. And when the effect of the medicine goes away, you will again start having the pain. So people who get to take painkiller regularly also are called addicts only. Because you are escaping from a problem by externally inducing something. In the same way, a philosophy which shows or which says everything is null and void can create a mind which does not look at anything seriously, denies reality of everything. At the same time, does it positively give any experience to that person? No. Even as a person going to sleep, no doubt is temporarily free of all the mental agitations, external problems. And such a person, even as he sleeps and when he comes back after sleep, has he solved the problem? No. So what would be the attitude of that person when he had escaped the problem temporarily during sleep, and when he wakes up to again the problem, what would be the state of mind? Again, how do I escape? Not how do I solve? Isn't it? The solution to a problem cannot be by denial of the problem. Solution to a problem cannot be escape from the problem. So Buddhism, in essence, wants to give a direct and a immediate solution by denying the world as null and void. Solution is not that, because as we will see in the next verse, it denies him responsibilities. He denies responsibilities for who he is. And again, that freedom is being so obtained by denial. It is not going to give any positive experience to that person. Third, that person cannot productively, positively engage in the world for the welfare of anybody. Because of him, the world will not gain anything. Even though it looks very attractive, but not really a true solution. Vedanta, on the other hand, does not deny the existence of the world. It has a two-step process. Understand the temporariness of everything which is sitting on a permanent reality. While Buddhism deny anything permanent, Vedanta says even the temporariness of the world is having the substratum of something which is permanent. Number one. Holding on to what is permanent alone, you can, without denial or escape, face the temporariness. You don't need to escape. You don't need to deny. You need to understand that I am that permanent self, everything else is temporary, but at the same time, while I am transacting with the world, I don't need to deny the world. I can handle it at a relative plane and be productive. Third, holding on to that what is permanent, not merely escaping from the temporariness, but that very permanent substratum by itself is of the nature of bliss. The bliss is not through absence, and bliss is through a total and complete and infinite presence. So, this is what Upanishad teaches. That permanent one, that substratum, that adhishtan, because of which even the temporary appearance is possible, that is to be realized. That is the one which one has to hold on to, abide in. So, here the last two verses, we have to see verse number 11 and 12 before going into the verse number 6 in Dakshinamoorty Stotram. While the Buddhists have talked about the skandhas, 5 different skandhas, which are the supporter of the internal world, and external world is supported by the paramanu, etc., the coming together of all the sanghada of the paramanus, which make the outside world, while the inner world of the person is supported by the panchaskandhas. We saw that in the last session. Now, verse number 11 here. Purvasmadeva hi jnanat jayate jnanamuttamam sa evayamiti jnanam seyam jwaleva vibramaha. when we see something, a thought arises, and the next thought is related to the previous thought, and the next thought is again related to this thought. Purvasmad eva jnanam jnana purvasmad jnanat eva jnanam uttaram jayate. Uttaram later, purvam before. Purvasmat from that which is before, jnanat knowledge, volition, thought, eva uttaram jnanam subsequent knowledge jayate is born. So, according to Kshanikavadins, knowledge is nothing but a thought leading to another thought. So, the A thought leading to thought B, they are not simultaneous existence. It is like a caterpillar moving from one leaf to another leaf. Before going to the other leaf, it catches the next leaf and then leaves the previous one. In the same way, of course, that it's not a parallel example here. Knowledge takes place from previous thought to the next, and this thought to the following. So subsequent knowledge is born out of the preceding knowledge. What is like sa eva ayam iti jnanam? He alone, this is verily he, meaning whom I have seen as earlier is this. So the previous thought is gone, now this thought has come. And this thought will go, the next thought will come. But the problem here is, here as he gives him another example, why they are calling it as Shanikam? Because there is no permanency of a single thought continuously. Every thought arises and disappears, arises and disappears. Like what? A flame. You look at a fire burning there, the flames are there. Do you think it is the same flame? No. So you look at, you are at the bank of a river, water is moving. Do you think the same water is there all the time? Even the river, you call it as this is a river, but the water in the river, every moment, every second it is changing. It's not the same water. You put your feet, if your foot is there dipping in one, then next moment another, again you dip, you are not dipping in the same water. And that way, Kshanikam. Sa iyam jwala iva vibramaha. Jwala, feminine. Sa iyam jwala. This is the same flame. It cannot be the same flame. The flame is continuous appearance, disappearance. Just like the water in a river is continuous flow and not the same water you dip into twice. So too, thoughts also constantly moving, cannot be there anything permanent. This is their conclusion. So this way, Kshanikavadins prove or say that so-called consciousness is a mere appearance of thoughts and no thought is permanent. Therefore, consciousness has no reality. It is just an appearance of knowledge and disappearance of that, and again appearance of another thought, etc. So, continuing here in the next verse, Asti bhaditi आत्मानात्मसु कल्प्यते हानो उपादान राहित्यात् आकाशः किं प्रकाशते. While Vedantins would say the nature of the reality is Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Sat, Chit and Anand. Asti, Bhati, Dhibrantaihi, Atmana, Anatmasu, Atma Anatmasu Kalpyate. Anatmasu, Anatma Vastushu, Vrittishu, Atma Ayam iti Kalpayate. People imagine a constancy of consciousness in the fleeting things of objects and thoughts with attributes like existence, consciousness, bliss, etc. And they call it as the Bhranti. It is a mental delusion. Anatma Vastuni, Atma Bhavaha, having the qualities like Asti, Bhati, Ityadi. So according to about Buddhas, Bodhikas, that the definition of consciousness as existence, consciousness, bliss, these are all mental delusions. And how do they prove themselves that it is like this? They give an example. Hana upadena rahityat. Hana means to destroy. Upadana is to acquire, possess. Can you acquire the self, own the self, possess the self? Can you destroy the self? That which you cannot own or hold on, how will you even kill it or destroy it? Like what? Akashaha. Like Akasha, space cannot be held by anybody or it cannot be destroyed. So like that of the sky, its existence cannot be proved. The sky's existence cannot be proved. It appears to be there. It appears to be there, but it cannot be proved to be really there because neither one can own, see, or destroy. And so it's the same way, the so-called self that you are talking about, nobody has seen it. Nobody owned it. Nobody destroyed it. Nobody can prove its existence. So it is the Bhranti. In this way, Kshanikavadins continue to condemn the standpoint of Vedanta philosophy. These are all the points from Ityevam Bodha Siddhanti Bhashamano Nishiddhayet. Bhashamano Nishidyate. Iti evam Bodha Siddhanti Bhashamanaha. While this way, the Bodha Siddhanti, those who are followers of the Buddha teaching or Buddhists, is being negated, Nishidhyate, in the next verse. So the next verse of Dakshinamoorty Stotram is about giving answers to Kshanikavadin and Shunyavadins. Now, why it is important to us? We are not going to encounter any Buddhists or anything to argue with them. See, we ourselves will get a doubt at some point of time. The Atman is Haikya. Is it there? See, we ourselves will get a doubt. Yes, so Atman they are saying, but is it really there? So we need to have those doubts cleared. Rahugrasta Divakarendu Sadrusho Maya Samachadanat Sanmatra Karanopasam Haranatah Yo Bhut Sushupta Puman Pragaswapsamiti Prabodha Samaye Yah Pratyabhignayate Tasmai Sri Gurumurtaye Namayidam Sri Dakshinamoortaye Rahugrasta Divakarendu Sadrusho Maya Samachadanat Sanmatra Karanopasamharanato Yo Bhutsu Shupta Puman Pragapswapsamidhi Prabodha Samaye Yapratyabhignayate Tasmai Sri Gurumurtaye Namayidam Sri Dakshinamurtaye. So, here in this sixth verse, main question is, in the state of sleep, while everything is uncognizable because of the withdrawal of the senses and the mind, who is or what is perceived by and who is perceiving it? This is how it started in the Ullasa. Taking up that as the first one, what is sleep? Now there is a famous story in our Puranas that the Devatas and Daityas, Adityas and Daityas, they both wanted the Amritam and they started to churn the Meru mountain on the ocean, which is Milky Ocean, with the help of Vasuki. And Bhagavan Narayana was helping both sides. Finally, after so many other things that came, after that finally when Amritam came, the original agreement was that both of them will get their share. But then Devata said that if the Danavas also get this, then there will be endless war. So they have to do something, but they never get it. So it is said that Vishnu took the form of a Mohini, gathering that part of Amritam. She said that, okay, all of you sit down in line, I will give you all a portion of this Amritam. And the Danavas also very rejoiced. But at the same time, Vishnu said, you all have to go and take a dip in the water before you receive this auspicious one. So all of them left. While they all left, he immediately started to serve the Devatas. But knowing the trick of Vishnu, Two of the Rakshasas, two of the Danavas stayed back, disguising themselves as Devatas, and they sat uh, along with sun and the moon. When Bhagavan Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, distributing this Amritam, he did not notice as though that there is a Rakshasa sitting there, disguising himself as a Deva. He offered him, and he drank it, but as even as he was drinking, Lord Moon, or the moon Chandra, he realized that this is not a Devata. Immediately told Vishnu that you gave it to him is not a Deva. At once, Bhagavan cut off the head of that Rakshasa, or Rakshasa ne, O Daitya, Ditiputra. Though the head was cut off, body fell down dead, because the Amritam has already been consumed by the head, so the head became immortal. And because Chandra and Chandra and Surya, they have made that complaint, therefore it is said that particular Danava known as Rahu, he attempts to swallow the moon and the sun periodically. Other one is called Ketu. We'll not go into that. But Rahu is the one is referred here. So the Rahu often does that, and when he does, it is called eclipse. He cannot completely swallow, because he takes into the mouth and then the throat is open, then it will come out. So he cannot fully swallow. So there's an appearance of moon not there for a short period of time, and then he again appears back. It's not totally swallowed every time. This is a very beautiful picturization. And the interesting point is, while think about it, at the time when Shankaracharya was talking about this, the superstition that people had at that time also, that, oh, now Rahu is now swallowing, and it's called eclipse, disappearance of moon. But there is no possibility of disappearance of moon or sun. From our vision, the moon is not available. Moon is there. Wherever we are standing, from our standpoint, because of the shadow, moon is not available for us to see. In the same way as the sun. Sun during the day also it can eclipse take place. In the night, sun eclipse takes place, nobody even knows it is there. But in the night, when our daytime, when the sun is, the shadow comes over it, then only we say it is eclipse. So from Shankaracharya's point of view is, definitely it is not there. It is not available for our perception. With that understanding, let us look at the verse here. Rahu grasta divakara indu. Grasta means swallowed. Rahuna grasta, Rahu grasta. By the Rahu, when the Divakara, the sun, Indu, the moon, when it becomes grasta, swallowed, in the same way, Sadrishaha, Rahu grasta Divakara Indu Sadrishaha, swallowed, like that of the sun and the moon swallowed by Rahu. Yaha Puman, Yaha, that which is Maya, Maya Samachadanat, Mayaya Samyak Achadanat, Mayaya, by Maya, when Samyak Achadana, Achadana means to cover. Chadar, Hindi में chadar होता है, carpet or whatever you put, blanket. So here that becomes, it's Achadanam. Achadanam means to cover. Mayaya Samyak Achadanat. At the time when one goes to sleep, the state of sleep is where the power of Maya working on the mind and the senses of the individual to entirely cover the activities of the senses and the mind in the form of what? Karana upasamharanataha. On the event of when the Puman, the individual, Karana upasamharanataha Puman, individual whose sense organs are completely withdrawn along with the mind, sanmatraha, there is only existence. Meaning what? There is no absence. Sanmatra, sadvastu eva. There is only pure existence without any other activities as such. For all the sense organs are withdrawn along with the mind. At that point, what is there? Existence. Now, how do we prove that there is existence? Because yaha sushuptaha, Puman, yaha sushuptaha. The person whose sense organs and the minds are withdrawn, one who is in the state of sleep, se eva, such a person alone, prag, later, when one wakes up in the morning, prabodha samaye, upon waking up, aswapsam iti, I slept well, iti pratyabhignayate, he recollects, recognizes. Cognition, recognition. He recognizes that I slept. Now, that much is the verse here. All right. So, what is proved here is, the most important word here is sanmatraha, existence alone. Now, here, Indriyanam Vishesha Vijnana Kara Hetunam Upasamharat. In the state of sleep, Indriyanam, of the sense organs, what it is called Karana Upasamharanataha. Indriyanam Vishesha Vijnana Kara Hetunam. Hetu means cause. Those who are causing special experiences. What is special experiences? Eyes have a special experience of experiencing forms and colors and shapes. Nose, smell. Tongue, taste, etc. These are all called Vishesha Vijnana. Vijnana Akara. Because they are causing the experience of something unique, what others cannot do. So they are called Vishesha Vijnana Akara Hetunam Upasamharat. And Upasamharana means withdrawal. Hruharati, take away. Upasamharati, withdrawal. Where do they withdraw into? Karana Atmani Syat, Layat. They become laya, they become merged into what? Karana Atmani, Karana Sharire. Karana Sharira, Vasanamaya Sharira. So, as we know, Stula, Sukshma, then Karana Sharira. So, the body and the pranas are constituting the Annamaya, Pranamaya Kosha as the Stula. Then we have Manomaya, Vijnanamaya as the Sukshma Sharira. Then what is left behind is Karana Shariram, Annamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. So Anandamaya Koshe Layat, they merge into Anandamaya Kosha or Karana Sharira. This is called Sushupti. In that state of Sushupti, complete merging of mind and senses, mind includes intellect, everything, all the Antakarana, all the Antakaranas are all merged into that. Sanmatraha. What does Sanmatraha? Swaprakasha Stanmatraha iti arthaha. Very important thing is Sanmatra is not mute existence. It exists knowing itself only. Swaprakasha Tanmatraha. It is self-aware existence. It is not a thought process. It is of the nature of self-illumination. So, Sanmatraha meaning existence alone, abiding in its own being. Karana upasamharanataha sushuptaha sanmatraha yah puman abut iti sambandhaha. Or another meaning of sanmatra is the person who is sleeping, he exists. He's not dead. He may be absent for all others. All others may be absent, right? But does he exist or not? He exists. So either way you take it, what are the two things you have to understand? When all the sense organs and the mind, etc. are withdrawn, the nature of the self as pure existence alone is. This is one meaning. Second meaning is, even as he goes to sleep, he exists. This is the second meaning. Arthaha Purovat. Now, what is that state of existence in sleep? Purva prakashatmana na bhasate. The bhasa asti bhati, in that bha means to shine, to be aware through the mind and the senses. That previously what he was capable of during the waking state is not there. In that state, there is no awareness of the world, of objects, etc., which earlier he was able to do through the self, is able to function through the mind and senses to accomplish that, is absent. Purna prakashatmana na bhasate. And that is what is drishtantena spashtayati. With the drishtanta he is doing it. The drishtanta is what? Rahugrasta divakara indu sadrishaha. What does it mean? That divakara sun, Indu the moon, they lost their luster as though. Isn't it? Eclipse time, their shining objects with their light is not there. The light is no more emanating from the sun or the moon. Why? swallowed. Rahu is swallowed. Eclipse time, the light of the sun and moon are not available. And therefore, with the absence of their light, we cannot see anything. In the same way, the Chit Swarupa of that self apparently suspended during the time of sleep, not that it has lost its ability, it is suspended. Merely as existence it is. So, Drishtantena Spashtayadi Rahugrasta Dibhagarendra Sadrushaha iti. And what is the hetu? What is the reason for that? Maya Samachadanat iti. And just like the Rahu is the one which swallows up the sun and the moon, making them lose for a temporarily suspend their luster. In the same way, Maya is as though covering the self in the state of sleep, making it not able to function through the mind and the senses, like earlier times in the state of waking, where one is able to comprehend the world outside or the thoughts. So, Mayaya Anadi Tamorupaya Samachadanat Avrita Brahma Swarupa Avra Brahma Tattva Swarupatvat Brahmatma Swarupatvat Avrita. It is as though covering. Uparakta Chandra Arkavat, like that of the light of this sun and the moon. Yata Vadana Yatavat Anavasayati Anavasamano api, even though Anavamasavano api, even though unable to illumine, Sanmatraha na shunyaha na kshanikaha. Va iti apipraya. Now directly hitting on the Buddhist, it is not shunya. It is not absence. It is not momentary. Because if it is momentary means what? According to Shanikavadins, there is nothing permanent. Appearance, disappearance, appearance, disappearance, appearance, disappearance. Is not there. Is there, not there. Is there, not there. Is there, not there. No, there is. That Sat Vastu cannot be otherwise. Like the sun and the moon, by by temporary suspension of ability to light does not mean they are absent. In the same way, the self at this time of sleep, not expressing its awareness through the mind and the senses does not mean it is absent. It is present. It is not shunyam, not kshanikaha. Ataha katam avagamyate. How do we know it exists? You are only saying that it exists in sleep. How? Sushuptau san eva puman iti pratyabhignana pramana ityaha. Pratyabhignana pramanat. For I prove it, we prove it by the fact that it is pratyabhigna. What is pratyabhigna? Recognition. See, the very word recognition itself is very clear. Remembrance is actually recognition. What is recognition means? What I have already seen, I see it again. Is it not? Oh, I recognize you. You cannot say that to a person whom you have never seen before. Can you say that? You recognize, the very word means, I have seen you before, now I recognize you. Perhaps I saw you in the crowd, and then now you are coming in front of me. Oh, I recognize you were there in the first row of that. Or I saw you because you got into the same flight I got in, and now you are standing for luggage. I must, oh, yeah, you came with me, right? In the same flight. So when do you say that? Obviously, if I've seen that person before. So, the same way, pradyamakyana pramanat ityaha pragasvapsapsam iti. Meaning, prabodha samaye asmat prag etavantam kalam sukam aham asvapsam iti pratyabhignayate. The person who wakes up from the state of sleep invariably comes to say, if he is asked, or he himself says to himself, I slept well. He may not say, but he has a thought. Or if somebody asks, he will say that. Sukhena maya suptam. I slept very well. If one is able to say that, it's obviously etavantam kalam sanmatraha bhuvam. If that existence was not there, na kamapi vishesham ajnasisham. It is not possible for him to say, sa aham idanim prabuddaha vipra tatkarana viprasruta karana gramataya jagarmi iti atmanaha pratyabhigyamanatvat na ayam shunyaha kshanikaha va iti abhipraya. The very fact that he was able to recall and say that I slept well, meaning I was there to recognize the bliss in the absence of the mind and the senses which were withdrawn into the Karana Sharira. Now the question always would come to anybody who reads this is that recognition happens as a thought or not as a thought. When he recalls, see, recalling of an experience takes place because the person while experiencing was aware. And the one who wakes up and talks about it is also aware. While in this case, while experiencing the state of sleep, there is no thought process of this is I am experiencing. And how is that upon waking up, an individual can say that I had this experience? So the scholars who have thought, or the Mahatmas who have contemplated upon, and even the scholars have come to this conclusion that even though, as we say, everything, entire all the sense organs and the mind, everything has been withdrawn into the Karana Sharira, it is said that one single thought is still present there. It is not Nasha, it is only Laya. In the state of sleep, it is Laya Sthiti, not Nasha Sthiti. And therefore, in the Laya Sthiti, there is a single thought of Asmi, 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 Asmi is there. That Aham Asmi is able to record the Ananda or the bliss experienced due to absence of sorrows. That is all. It is not anything positively that existence experiences. It is only absence of sorrows, absence of other thoughts, absence of activities of the senses, etc. So that is why it is in this note. In the Sushupti or deep sleep state, the sense organs and the mind, and the mind merges in its cause, ajnana or ignorance. Hence, there will be no awareness of the external physical world or the internal mental world. In an eclipse, the sun and the moon do not shine but continue to exist. Similarly, in deep sleep state, the Atman continues to exist through, though it does not shine. In other words, the bhati part of it is temporarily suppressed and only the asti part continues unabated. Now the question is, if there is absence of, there is nothing else, nothing, according to Buddhists, there is nothing there to remain constant, shunya. If that is the case, when one wakes up, and if he is not the experiencer of that state of total absence of the sense and sense activities and the thoughts, etc., what is that he will recall? There is nothing to recall. Recalling takes place, recognition takes place because of the existence earlier. Otherwise, what happens is, Devadatta goes to sleep, Brahmadatta says, I experienced bliss. Devadatta's previous experience can be remembered by, recognized by Devadatta only and not Brahmadatta. So, the experiencer of that sleep alone be the recollector, recognizer of that in the waking state. So, there should be same person, not two different people. The one who went to sleep alone is the waker. The one who experienced the sleep alone is the one who reports it in the waking state. That means whoever was there is there now in the waking state, was there in a condition, in a pure existence condition in sleep as well. So, that is to say, there is no absence of you at any time. Whether you're dreaming or sleeping, obviously when you are awake. That is to say, there is something permanent in you despite absence of thoughts, absence of objects, absence of the world. There is one thing which is continuously there, which you cannot say does not exist or it is only momentary. To establish this, there are many Shrutis are quoted. In one of these Shrutis, it is said, Mandala Brahmana Upanishad. So it is said here very clearly in that very Upanishad that, as it is quoted in this book by Chinmaya Mission, Shushubdi Samadayoho Manolaya Visheshepi Mahat Asti Ubayoho Bedaha. Even though the absence of mind is there both in sleep as well as in the state of samadhi, there is a difference. What is the difference? Tasmai, of that, Leenatvat, because the mind only leena, not nasha. Muktihi hedutva abhavacha. Mukti hedutva abhavacha. In the state of sleep, there is no cause for liberation because the mere suspension of the mind cannot be regarded as liberation, which happens in sleep. Mano nashaha or manasaha bhaditvam, the false nature of bhadana, manasaha mano manasaha bhaditvam, the state of being false or the knowledge of the mind as false. That is the hetu for muktihi and not mere liar. So, in the state of sleep, even though one experiences the absence of the mind. But by that practice of sleep does not lead on to moksha. So that means mere suspension of the mind cannot be the cause for liberation. So that's why Ramana Maharshi also says, Layagatam punar bhavatino mrutam. Pranabandhanat liyate manaha jala pakshipat rodha sadhanam. Just like in the control of the breath may probably make your mind suspend, but that is anagadam, layagadam punar bhavati nomritam. When does it mind will finally be seen as false? Ekachintanat nashameti. By that remembrance, by the recognition of the self and contemplation upon the self and abidance alone can make you able to realize the false nature of the mind. And once you understand the false nature of the mind, whatever trouble that it can give can no more be, you will no more be the victim of it. All right. Now, Kaivalya Upanishad also says, Sushupti kale sakale viline tamo vibhuta sukarupamedi punascha janmantara karma yogat sayeva jivaha swapiti prabuddhaha. Sushupti kale, at the time of sleep, sakale viline, everything is being merged, tamo vibhuta, getting into the state of tamas, sukarupamedi, obtains some amount of happiness, punascha, again, janmantara karma yogat, due to association with the actions performed over many lives, sayeva jivaha, the same jiva, swapiti prabuddhaha, goes to sleep and wakes up, goes to sleep and wakes up. So, punascha karma yogat karma vasana karma here is karma vasana karanat, because of the inherent tendencies as well as the purva karma phalam, the individual can never escape from waking up, going to sleep, again waking up, going to sleep, and again rebirth. That is not, cannot be stopped. Now, Chandogya Upanishad also he quotes saying that Yatra edat purushaha swapiti nama sata saumya tada sampanno bhavandi swam apitaha bhavati tasmat enam swapiti iti achakshate. Yatra where this Purushaha, etat Purushaha, this person, Swapiti, Nama, when do we say a person is sleeping? Sata, Saumya, oh beautiful one, Tada Sampannaha Bhavati. So he will become purely an existence in the state of sleep. Swam Apitaha Bhavati. He merges into his own self. Swayam. What is Swam? Vertical Swapana or Sushupti. Swam Apitaha Bhavati. That is called Swapiti. One merging into oneself. Meaning, one merging into one's own Karana Sharira. Tasmat enam Swapiti iti achakshate. That is why he is called a person was. In English, it's called slipping into oneself. That's called sleep. Slipped into myself. That slipped means called the slept. Just like when you sleep, you slipped. And you calculate, I slipped, Swamiji, I fell down. Yeah, in the same way, you fell down into yourself. That is called sleep. All right. Now, okay, this is about the state of sleep, I understood. But what about the state of waking? How do you prove that in the state of waking also the self is continuously there? So that will be taken up next. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Harihi Om.